Hey folks, welcome back to Hanbleceya Ranch. My name is Jason, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about this Bauer 10-inch electric chainsaw that I picked up from Harbor Freight. But before we get into this, I've got to go do something, so let's go do that, and we'll come right back. When our chicken, Abigail, got sick earlier this winter, we had to put her in a cage and set her in the kitchen. Unfortunately, the soffit vent areas are open and there was a lot of wind blowing into the kitchen. So we put up this makeshift block using cardboard, and so now we've got to take it down. I've seen a bird flying in there and I'm hoping he's not getting comfortable with wanting to make a nest in there. We'll get it down before it gets started on that nest. Make sure we don't have any birds up in our soffits. We're not sponsored by them. We did not get this free. Like most times when I go to Harbor Freight, I find stuff that I don't need and I buy it with money I don't have. And this is exactly what this was. But in reality, Jen and I had been talking about getting a battery-powered chainsaw. A neighbor of ours has one and he absolutely loves it. So we figured for the price that we picked this up, it was certainly worth trying out. It is a small one. We're not expecting a lot out of it, but it does look like it's going to do what we need it to do. Now, the thing about this is I have done absolutely no research on this brand. I know nothing about it other than what I see on the box. That's it. So I don't know what to expect. I have no idea how it's going to perform, but all I do know is I did charge the battery up. We're going to open this box, throw it in there, and go try and cut some wood. And we're going to see if this thing does a good job or not. Like I said, I don't know anything about it. I'm certainly not selling it. I'm not sponsoring it. They're not sponsoring me. I don't care whether you buy this or not. This is just something we're going to try because we have heard good things about battery operated chainsaws, but we've never actually used them. So we're going to see. Let's see how it goes. Now, I do have a funny story about a battery powered chainsaw. Down where our mailboxes are, which is a mile down the road, we had a tree fall down. And I drove over there with my 18-inch pull-on chainsaw, and I made a wrong cut and I pinched my bar. So I went down the road, got my neighbor. He came over with his, I think it's a Milwaukee or similar brand electric or battery powered chainsaw. It's a lot bigger than this one. And he powered right through it, had no problem. And I was truly impressed. I had no idea they ran as well as they did. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so I'm thinking, yep, all right, so it looks like the chain and the bar is there. First and foremost, I already like it because it's so damn light. This is definitely something that Jen will be able to use if she's going to be out cutting. She doesn't really like using the gas chainsaws at all. The ones that we have are heavy and bulky, and she doesn't like that. So, but this one, it's definitely light. There's really nothing to this thing. Let's see about getting this bar on. All right, so I need to go cut these off. So I'm gonna cut this zip tie, and we'll put this on here and see how it fits. Now, I'm pretty sure I won't be able to cut anything too big with this, but then again, I don't know. So while I'm working on this, if you guys have a battery powered chainsaw, why don't you drop down in the comments. Let me know what kind you have and how big it is, and more importantly, what size battery are you using? This one here is a 5 amp hour. There is a little tag here that says it should be a minimum of 3 amp hours. But let me know what you guys are using. The other thing, I'm assuming this just uses a regular chainsaw blade or chainsaw chain. I can't imagine the chain would have to be special. I mean, it looks normal. It looks normal. All right, let's see. I'm going to put this thing on here. All right, I should probably read the directions. So I don't know what it's doing in here. I'm sure there's a mechanism in here that's doing it, but I can feel this thing getting tighter, and the chain has definitely gotten a little tighter. So, okay, so that's it. I guess putting the bar on was actually pretty easy. It's literally put it on, and then this is your tensioner. So if the chain gets loose, all you got to do is turn this back 3 times and then retighten it. So that's pretty simple. And like I said, overall this thing is super light, and I can see why we would want to use something like this, especially whether Jen's doing it or whether we had small limbs, small things we wanted to cut. Like I said, I probably wouldn't take down a big tree with this, but we are going to put it to the test, because as soon as we get this thing running, we are heading down the road. There's a few small trees I want to see how this does on, and really put it to for us, a real life test. This will tell us whether or not this was a good buy or not. So first thing I got to do though, we got to add some bar chain oil. The other thing I'm interested in seeing is how long this lasts. Now I'm probably not going to run that test today, because I do have other stuff going on today, but I do want to get the battery fully charged and then run it until it dies. That way I'll know like how much time I have with a full charge, and if, assuming this works out okay and I don't need to return it for any reason we decide to keep this, it'll also tell me whether or not I should invest in a new battery, and it'll tell me whether or not I should invest in a larger one. So, and I know it's a Bauer, it's a Harbor Freight brand. They're hit or miss, I get it, but essentially it'll give me a good idea of whether or not I'm going to like this type of saw as opposed to a gas saw. So, really, Harbor Freight, you couldn't even give me enough to fill this all the way up. This gets me to medium. Oh, all right. All right, so we're going to throw on our little guard here. Oh, I should probably put the cap back on. All right, so now that the cap's on, guard's on, let's run down the road and, well, actually, maybe I should put the battery in and make sure the damn thing works first. So, all right, let's see. Put that in there. It works. There's a little hesitation in it. Let's see if you guys can see it. Press. Just a little bit. I don't know if it's going to affect anything or not, but yeah, okay, so it works. So that's good. I don't know how fast it runs. I think these are typically direct drive, so it should be able to maintain that speed going through the whatever I'm cutting, but we'll see. I'm going to put it to the test. Let's go for a ride. There is nothing more boring than sitting here waiting for Dory to warm up. I'm ready to go cut, but I can't yet. So we sit and wait. Now I typically let Dory warm up for about 5 minutes or so. Just make sure everything's good. I know I just did an oil change on it, but I want to make sure that everything is nice and warmed up. Our road sucks right now, and I don't want to have any problems with her. So this little tree here, I've been eyeballing this for a long time. It's time to see if this little Bauer will cut it down. Okay, so it seems that this thing needs to be tight. It needs to be really tight. Unlike a gas chainsaw that has just a tiny bit of play, this one seems to have to be really, really tight. Honestly, I don't like it. It's really sloppy and not smooth at all through the cutting. I suspect it could be the chain, but I mean, you would think with it being brand new that the chain would be good. We've got a few other things I want to try this thing on before I pass judgment on it. So we're going to run up the road a little bit further and take a look at a few other pieces. So this tree here was part of a bigger issue I had early this past winter, and we're going to try to cut this thing down with our new brawn and see how it performs. Honestly, right now, I am not impressed. So that was a heck of a lot better. I think the key here is to keep this chain tight. All right, so that first couple of trees, not all that impressed really. I thought it was just, I don't know, I thought it was going to be better. I think the this chain thing, because I think it has to be super tight. It ran better when it was really tight. But the first time I ran it, the chain actually popped off the bar. And so during that cut on that first tree. But I've got another tree, smaller tree, on the other side of our yard that I want to try to go and cut. So we're going to take this guy, we're going to head over there. We're going to see if it does any better. As we make our way over there, I will say it really surprises me at how dinky this thing is and how cheap it feels. I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, just wanting to beat up Harbor Freight and Harbor Freight tools, because frankly honest, a lot of my stuff is Harbor Freight. But this is the first Bauer I've ever purchased, and the first battery-powered chainsaw. And yeah, I mean, unless this next cut goes exceptionally well, not going to be a real big fan. But we'll see. Okay, so now that we're here, we're going to try to cut this thing down here, and we'll see how it does. Okay, so that cut a hell of a lot better than the first time we did this. Much, much better. So we'll actually come through here and cut this tree down here later. We're not going to do it right now, and I'm certainly not going to do it with this Bauer. But now that we've got it cut, we're going to head back over to the homestead and let's talk about our results. Okay, so we've cut a few little trees down, and we had a problem with the first couple of trees, but then after tightening up the chain, it seemed to work pretty well. Now the big question for me is, would I have purchased this particular saw? Would I have been happy with it if it wasn't on sale? The answer to that is I would have probably returned it. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just, I don't know. There's just something about it I'm not very keen on. Now what I do want to do is I want to run this and cut up some of our cookwood, because the reason I say that is it's in a much more controlled environment where I'll have the wood in a fixture or in a rack where I can spend my time and cut it, straight. I'm not, standing in the woods, standing on, snow banks and things like that. I'm not, lifting it above my head like you just saw me do on this last tree this limb that I was cutting. I think that it certainly will serve a purpose on our homestead, but I don't think I would have been happy had I paid the full price for it. So I'm kind of glad that we got it on sale. I don't feel so bad. And like I said, I do think there might be some value to having this as opposed to using my small 12-inch gas steel chainsaw. And we'll put it to the test, as we start cutting our firewood for next season. So, but again, I don't think, at least this brand, it just, there's not a lot of power behind it. I know it's 10 inches, but for what we do out, living here in the woods, we really need a lot of power. We need a saw that's going to feel, like it's got some meat to it, because this one certainly doesn't feel like that whatsoever. So we are going to go ahead and keep it. And like I said, we're going to probably use this thing again when we start cutting our firewood up, our cookwood for our firewood, because those those are going to be branches, smaller trees. And again, it's going to be in a controlled environment. So I think it might do well there. At least, if anything, save on a little bit of gas. So I think overall, it certainly has its limitations. So the other thing is I am going to run a test on this when we do set up to cut our cookwood. And just so you know, I keep looking over to this way because I have a pile of cookwood over here waiting to be cut. It's already the size, it just needs to be cut to length, and we've got a lot more of that coming. And so once I get a nice stockpile of it, we'll put this to the test for how long I can cut with a full 5 amp hour battery, and then we'll also see how well it performs in that type of environment. So now lastly, is owning this thing and cutting with this thing going to persuade me or dissuade me from purchasing a larger one? No. I think there's value to having a battery powered chainsaw, and if the right deal and the right size comes up, we're going to certainly invest in it, and we'll see how that goes. So all right, folks, well, until the next video, thanks a lot for sticking around and watching this one. And if you liked it, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you folks on the next video.